Welcome to the video, guys. Once again, Sadiq Khan has been caught out lying, and in what I'm sure is a surprise to absolutely no one. It's relating to money, of course. Now, we all know his completely contradictory statements that have been coming out over the last few weeks, chopping and changing position at will. But this time he is trying to use the threat of the London transport system being shut down because apparently he only has enough money to run it for one more week, despite the fact that in this same article we're going to look at, that is proven false by the head of transport for London. Meaning, like Richard Branson, Sadiq Khan is just trying to fleece the government out of money using the current situation as an excuse. Now obviously, me and many of my viewers are going to be sitting there questioning why he doesn't just spend his PR budget on fixing the hole rather than begging the government for a bailout. Because, let's be honest, we all know he wastes millions of pounds on his stupid PR budget instead of before now cutting crime. But we have a Daily Mail article here which has pointed out what Khan's had to say, and the TfL boss coming out and essentially calling him a liar. It headlines, "Now Sadiq Khan begs for a bailout to keep the tube and buses running, despite failing to run a decent service for key workers who still risk health on jam-packed trains while a third of TfL staff are off sick." Which is something I've pointed out before. He halved the amount of trains in London before the lockdown was even put in place, meaning every single train was literally a sardine tin of people, more so than it usually is. Which, let's be honest, London Underground trains have been sardine cans for a long time now, but this just made it worse. Sadiq Khan has begged the government for a bailout to keep tubes and buses running after claiming TfL, which has so far refused to furlough any staff, will run out of money in a week, which is completely false. The London Mayor said he was eating into cash reserves to keep the capital service going amid a huge drop in income from fares during the coronavirus lockdown. Khan was also accused of risking lives for slashing services, forcing commuters that had to travel to work to cram into packed carriages. Now he wants a grant to help prop up the struggling transport network, which is once again more nonsense. It's not actually struggling. But Transport for London, which spends £600 a month to run the network, I bet it doesn't spend £600 a month, more like £600 million a month or some craziness like that, has not furloughed any staff using the government's job retention scheme, which would in turn help relieve the financial pressure. Instead, up to a third of drivers have been sat at home sick or self-isolating amid pressure from unions over staff safety during the pandemic, which has led to the reduction in services. Hundreds of thousands of commuters had no option but to cram into packed tubes and buses to get to work like sardines after Khan shut 40 stations, closed the entire Circle line and slashed services to 55% capacity at rush hour. Once again showing what a great mayor of London this guy is, not only in normal times, but in the extreme times we find ourselves in, he still manages to show himself as an incompetent stone-cold loser. Khan also threatened that services could get even worse next month if money is not found, as shocking photographs of packed tube carriages and buses continue to emerge daily. So there you have it, guys. He is now threatening the government that he will reduce tube services and bus services even more, therefore creating more of a sardine effect on said tube and buses. Meaning the government's lockdown move would be completely pointless because everyone that still travels to work would literally be passing it to each other, armpits in each other's face and all. His decision to significantly reduce services last month for no good reason was slammed by Health Secretary Matt Hancock, who said they should be running in full so people are spaced out and can be further apart, which I expect was the government's plan at the beginning, but Sadiq Khan, we all know what he's like, he's an incompetent moron, this is what you get. The Mayor of London last night revealed there had been a 95% reduction in tube use and an 85% fall in numbers on buses following the coronavirus lockdown. Well, that statement there has kind of counteracted a lot of what the media said. If there's been a 95% reduction in tube use, then how has London been full of people flouting the lockdown? I would have to say that I'm calling yet more bullshit from the media there. Mr. Khan told BBC Radio London, TfL is like many businesses in London. We rely upon our fares income to pay for things, whether it's services or investing in capital. Or if you're Sadiq Khan, no doubt the PR budget, which is likely massive. The government has cut our operating grant, of course they have, so we get back to the Labour talking points of Tory austerity. I'm surprised it's took him that long, but we see it nonetheless. So without fares, we can't do stuff, and so we have our cash reserves, which we're eating into. Frankly speaking, because we've lost 95% of passengers on the tube and 85% of passengers on the bus, we are struggling, much like everyone around the country. We are eating into our reserves, so we're in conversation with the government in relation to supporting us with a grant, just like the government is supporting businesses with grants. Does that sound to you anything like what Richard Branson was asking for the other day? Because it certainly sounds like it to me. Asked how long TfL might be able to carry on for, Mr. Khan replied, probably the end of this month. What a load of nonsense that is. He added, what we can't afford to do is have to make decisions to cut more services because we can't pay people. So that's why it is really important. The London Mayor's demand for a bailout comes amid a string of controversies over London transport crisis. Khan was blasted for doing too little too late after TfL announced they would seal off the front doors of buses to prevent contact with drivers only this week. Some 26 TfL staff have now died from the coronavirus. Khan was accused of risking lives for cutting services which forced commuters onto packed carriages, as we know. He's not furloughed any staff, and TfL is at war with the unions or facing one if they attempt to get the network up and running because they demand assurances on driver safety. So Khan is deep in the shit. Most of it caused himself, others by the wondrous unions. I wonder where they come from. According to the BBC, TfL is looking to furlough non-frontline, non-operational staff through the job retention scheme. Insiders told the corporation that could mean thousands of TfL staff. They will get 80% of their salary paid by the government, and TfL will pay the rest. His comments come as frightened passengers already face crowded conditions and a lack of space on trains due to cuts already made to tube services, as we've already said. Bus travel was made free in a bid to protect the drivers, we just heard about that. The Mayor has also called for compulsory face masks on tubes and buses after the death of 26 Transport for London workers from COVID-19, despite concerns over their effectiveness and the fact that people are complaining. Apparently, the NHS can't get enough PPE. The last thing you need to do is tell everyone in London to try and buy up PPE just so they can get on the bus. It's really not a good idea when there's an apparent shortage, Sadiq. You should know this, or should you really? Let's be honest, most of your decisions have not exactly been the brightest of ones, have they? London Mayor Sadiq Khan was on Monday accused of doing too little too late, as we already know, and is a common thing with his leadership. Confidence among passengers in the Mayor and TfL appears to be falling. Well, hopefully confidence in him as the Mayor will be gone, and when we do finally have the mayoral elections, we can get rid of him. That there is almost as important as Brexit, in my opinion. A joint survey on Monday by two transport watchdogs showed some passengers are alarmed and frightened by the resulting crowding situations and packed tube. Yeah, and I'm not surprised, to be honest. In a joint survey published by London Travel Watch and Transport Focus, one passenger said, "I felt quite alarmed by the crowded conditions and lack of space for social distancing. The cutting underground trains is self-defeating in the effort to prevent spread of the virus." Another said, "These journeys have been frightening as there are still far too many people travelling, especially on certain lines like the Victoria and Piccadilly. No, 95% down according to TfL. The problem is they've cut the services in half, maybe even more. TfL needs to be stopping people who should not be travelling so that NHS staff and food shop workers can get to work safely. No, TfL are not the arbiters of what is an essential journey, and they never will be. End of story. I don't agree with that at all." And here we have here, look. In response to Mr. Khan's comments last night, a spokesman for Transport for London said the Mayor was referring to reaching our prudent minimum cash balances by the end of the month, which by then will still be 1.2 billion. Oh, so it's nice to know you'll be broke within a week, but still sitting on 1.2 billion in the cash balances, so not running out of money in my opinion. And given that earlier on it was apparently like £600 million a month running costs, it would appear to me that 1.2 billion should easily see you at least for the next month, maybe two, depending on any overheads. Either way, that statement there from the spokesman for Transport for London completely rubbishes your claim that you'll be out of money in a week, which we always knew was nonsense. You've got at least a month, maybe 2 months there. But that statement there essentially goes to show a lot more of the country what we already know. Sadiq Khan cannot be trusted and is literally just lying to get more cash in his pocket. Perhaps he's hoping to get a little bit more PR in because he knows this situation is not going to help his re-election at the mayoral elections when they finally happen. Like I said earlier, hopefully we can get rid of him. And I'm sure the lies that were put in this article will continue for many more months to come, so we'll have plenty of chances to call him out for it. Because to me, it just sounds like he is trying to blackmail the government out of some more money, like Richard Branson and many other snivelling shitweasels have been over the past couple of weeks. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.